What's good, guys? Charles from Team COG. Coming to you guys with a Regenesis deck profile. So guys, this deck is actually pretty wild. I was eyeing this deck and Dragon Ruler's down from the new Set Alliance Insight, but man, Dragon Ruler's just kind of... I always got Ashed, man, and I didn't like it. It just, everything that deck did, it felt like it negged one, or it had the possibility to neg two, and then you get hand-trapped, and then you couldn't do a lot. But I could be very wrong. It could just be my, like, secular testing with it. But instead, I decided to really hyper-focus on Regenesis. Cool thing about this deck, it is literally based off of the Torah, or the first 5 books of the Old Testament Bible, which is really cool. I just really enjoy the deck. I think it's super sweet. I think it trades really well with hand traps, in my opinion. A lot of the cards are... It just kind of like a... It doesn't really rely on the extra deck, which is kind of nice. So, please remember, if you guys enjoy this type of content, hit that subscribe button, ding that notification bell, and, become a member, hit that join button. They do have some proxies, guys. I am so sorry. I sadly wasn't able to get my hands on 2 cards, or excuse me, 1 card in the main deck, and I'm just missing the other card, which you don't have to play because this is a 40 card list, but it's just like, you could play it. And then in the next deck, it's just missing 1 card. I'll explain it when we get there, and it's like, it's somewhere around my office here, but I can't find it. So, without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump on into the profile here. So to start out with, we're rocking triple Regenesis Archfiend. Here's my proxy for the Regenesis Archfiend, is the Dark Magician Girl. This card is literally the search for the deck. It says that if you can special summon this card from your hand by just revealing a monster with 2500 attack or 2500 defense, and then it searches you any Regenesis card, which is pretty wild. And then during the end phase, if it's in the graveyard, it can recur itself. Most of the Regenesis have it, if not all the Regenesis, minus the Lord, has all these effects, which is kind of cool, which allows you to like have a really powerful crackback, because you're using their effects during the end phase. You get to add them back, which is super strong, which gives you that recursion to keep up the grind. But yeah, 3 Archfiend. Then we're on to double Sage. Sage is your Omni Negate. Again, as long as this one says if you control a monster with 2500 attack or defense is on the field, special summon it. Pretty crazy. And then 1 Warrior, which honestly should have been a super in my opinion. 1 Dragon. And then 1 Regenesis Lord. Fortunate enough, you guys saw my community post. I was able to get a hold of a QCR. I got a QCR of this on the way, and then I'll probably get 2 more of that. We're on the way, man. We're on the way. So this is it for the Regenesis monsters. We'll move on to the spells and the traps. We have essentially 3 Regenesis. The Rhoda, or Foolish Burial of the deck, which is kind of cool. You can activate this under Droll and Send, and then during the end phase, you can add something back, which is kind of cool. And then we have triple Regenesis Code, which is the E-Tally of the deck. When you use this card, you cannot special summon from the extra deck, which is okay, because all your main monsters do everything you would do. But you do have some utility in the extra deck, which I'll go ahead and say that I'll show you the cards that I think you need to play for this variant, and then every other card is just kind of whatever you want to play, essentially. Regenesis does have a cool thing. Except the turn it's sent, you can bench this card from your graveyard, except the turn it was sent there. Special summon Regenesis from your graveyard, and Code lets you special summon from the banishment. So when you use Lord to be able to banish out, banish any of your names to summon itself, you can use this then to follow up. Finally, for the last card, we do have 1 Regenesis Birth. It's just interesting that this deck is level 7 and mostly level 8s. Essentially, I think this is... The Lord is like a level 11, Dragon's level 8, and Archfiend I think is level 8, and everything else is level 7. So Regenesis Birth kind of works well with another Birth card, in my opinion. But this card is a Book of Moon and also a Soul Charge. You can only use 1 effect per turn. You can either dump a Regenesis name from deck to Book of Moon, which then the Regenesis name you dump can add itself back in the end phase. Or then you can send this card during your opponent's turn to be able to special summon as many Regenesis from hand, graveyard, or banishment back, which is kind of wild. But yeah, so this is it for the Regenesis cards. I think they're all kind of crazy, man. I think they're all kind of powerful, in my opinion. They're all just pretty strong and solid. The next engine you play with this deck is, of course, Kashtira, because a Unicorn. But this is Kashtira Finra, which searches Kashtira Unicorn, which is right here. And then we're just going to show the 1 Birth. So potentially, I do want to play as a 41st card, Castosis? I can't think of the name, but it's the one that you can special summon 1 from the deck. Because sometimes you'll open Birth, and then, like Unicorn, what does Unicorn search if it can't search a Birth, right? So then you can just use Birth to search Theosis summon out Finra. Finra will then search another copy of Unicorn, which then Unicorn's in your hand to be able to use for the Archfiend to be able to summon itself, which is pretty nice as well. But this deck has this has a huge synergy with the deck, including Birth. Birth here says you can normal summon 1 level 7 monster without tributing. So that allows you to normal summon out your Warrior, your Sage, worst case scenario. So there's some pretty decent synergy. This Unicorn is insanely powerful in this deck, not because of its crazy effect, because we all know what Unicorn does. We're going to be sniping out those detonators, sniping out those white binders, but it's just 2500. It puts a 2500 body on the field for free that allows us to potentially use it And Birth is an insane card. I mean, like I said, not only can you normal summon your own Regenesis, but you can, do some crazier plays, tribute plays and stuff like that, worst case scenario, and then use Birth to bring back stuff. Like, you can essentially search out Birth, do some combo sequencing, and then tribute off, if you have to tribute someone like out your Fenrir, if you open like some assortment. In my testing, I found myself go Fenrir, search on Fenrir to search out the Unicorn. Then I'm forced to do Regenesis plays, and then I have no way to get the Unicorn out of my hand. So then I just tribute summon for Unicorn, tributing 2 bodies, name like bodies that aren't doing anything, such as Fenrir plus that, and then I use Birth to bring back the Fenrir that distributed for the Unicorn, which is pretty insane. I'm moving on to the next engine. I don't think this is the best engine, but there's like tons of engines you can play in this deck. You can play Nadir's Servant, you can play the Horus engine, you can even play the Azamina Sin Wanted package in this, because Witch is 2500. One of the Horus monsters is also 2500, and I think they all do a lot of the crazier things. But the issue is that I found that I want to play Regenesis. I don't want to play like this deck as an engine, even though this is like 3 engines in one. I want to have a lot of fluidity and stuff, so I figured might as well go with the theme. And we're rocking 3 Nadir Servant, and then 1 Fleur-de-Lis, 1 Maximus, and 1 Dogmatic Ecclesia the Virtuous. This is just body presence. You don't really have to play Ecclesia, but I found like during the end phase, when you use Maximus to dump Titanclad, summon out Virtuous, Virtuous will then add you that. It puts another body on the field, which then can be used for like link plays on the following turn, if you are not locked from the extra deck from Code or, Nadir Servant, etc. But this card is 2500 too, which means it's pretty wild. It has synergy with the deck. Again, you're going to potentially put down Fenrir. Fenrir is going to be able, not Fenrir, Unicorn is going to rip a card from the extra deck. This is going to rip 2 more cards from the extra deck, and then you get like inherent draw power in the sense that the cards you can send with Maximus. It gives a lot of utility to the deck. It does suck drawing like Maximus. It's not too bad seeing Virtuous here, because you can worst case normal summon the Virtuous, search out Fleur-de-Lis, and then get your Regenesis plays going, and then that's, it's better than nothing, whereas Maximus just kind of does suck seeing in the hand, because you can't do anything with it unless you get access to an extra deck monster in the graveyard, and neither one of the engines facilitate that. But I do like it. It's pretty cool. This card can have back from graveyard too, so yeah. Moving on to the non-engine, I do play 1 Crossout, 1 Triple T, and 1 Call By. I don't know if you don't have to play it. This is just the Holy Trinity now that you should play to counter hand traps, even though, we don't get super dogged on by certain hand traps. In weaker hands, we can get dogged on. So you want to have these 3 to be able to answer certain hand traps and etc. and everything like that. I'm still rocking Triple Ash Blossom. Aurelia does really smack this deck. If you get hit with that Jellyfisherman, you're either going to, it's going to be brutal. So you want to have Ash answer that, plus other cards. Effect Veiler, I just want a non-once per turn hand trap, so if I have multiples of it, I can still use it, which is why I'm also playing Imperm. Cool thing with Veiler, man, is some lines, if you want to make your extra deck around to it, you do have some Synchro 10 plays, you do have some Synchro 11 plays, Synchro 8 plays that you can potentially do, just by having these hand traps be able to normal summon them, so it allows you to construct your extra deck to be whatever you want. So with that being said, do take note that sometimes it's kind of brutal, because you won't see one of the other engines, or your engine will get stopped. So sometimes you're just playing Dogmatica Control Baby, and then sometimes you're literally just playing Kashtira because you haven't seen anything, and then sometimes you're playing pure Regenesis. You would like to see the fluidity, or an equal amount of each of them, but sometimes that's not the way the game works. You're using one or the other, but I do enjoy this deck. I actually thought I was going to like this deck the least compared to Dragon Rulers, but I actually really like this deck a lot more. It's kind of it's simple, it's kind of primitive, control-esque, it's not wombo combo, but like I said, it trades very well into hand traps or into boards, for my opinion, because essentially if you use your board and you end up sending off a Regenesis with Sage, you end up using the Warrior, during the end phase you add those cards back and they just special summon inherently for free, and then you're putting on 2500 beat 6 on the field, which apply a lot of pressure on the crackback. Moving on to the extra deck, so I'm going to first show you these first cards here. These cards are, in my opinion, what is a must if you're playing the Dogmatica package. If you're not playing Dogmatica, you don't need to play these. But again, if you're playing that package, these are highly recommended. Nothing I ever say is gospel. Play the decks how you want to play them, etc., etc. But these are pretty much the ones I'm playing. Garuda for a draw, Intis for a pop, Titaniclad for the in-phase summon of the either Ecclesia, or you can add a Fleur-de-Lis, Omega for the recursion, and this card right here should be Tri-Brigade Farigite, which I will use the power of editing, be able to put here, as long as I don't forget. So this card is, again, a draw 1, put 1 back, so allows you to fix your hands, because you do have a lot of kind of I wouldn't say bricky cards, but sometimes duplicates and stuff you want to see. Just a draw on this is pretty wild. For the most part, everything else can kind of be up to your preference. I'll quickly show you what I'm kind of working with. I have a Typhon, which it's not, you don't need it, but it's there. Draco Sack from whenever you can overlay 2 7s. You can do the, what's it called? The Heat Soul line where you can draw 2 cards, which is okay. Big Eye, I think, is actually, maybe put Big Eye up here with these guys. Let's move this down. Big Eye, I think, is a must. You're playing level 7s. Being able to steal a monster is, pretty strong. Darkest Dragon Doom Rider. It doesn't have to be Doom Rider. It can be any level 7 that pops. Red Eyes Metal Flare Dragon for time. I have Totally Awesome in here because the Sage is a water. So in theory, you could add back Sage if its own graveyard effect gets negated, but it's okay. You don't need to play Toad because most of the time Sage will just add itself back. So don't even do that. Worry about it. A Little Knight, Little Knight would probably be up here because it's a must. Something like Big Eye Take and then link off Little Knight's pretty cool. Masquerena, the Heat Soul, the Phoenix, they probably should be. Any of these cards can be traded out for the Golem Crystal Heart, so that way you could do the Kotalker Heat Soul line. I just couldn't find my Crystal Heart at the time of this video, and I'm trying to get this pumped out because I got a lot of content coming here soon. So I just wanted to make sure to get it out to you guys. But yeah, anyway, this is it for the Regenesis deck profile. If you guys enjoy this type of content, let me know down below. Comment down the different engines you're trying and stuff with the deck. I really think the deck's pretty cool. It kind of fits up my alley lore-wise. I do plan to do a local versus video with this and show some test stands just showing like the unique play style and like the boards this deck can set up. But again, stay safe, stay healthy, guys. This is Charles from Team COG signing out.